Welcome back to PipeCast. This is another filler episode. This week we will be discussing Drucquer&Sons' First Amendment. So let's take a look at that.
All right, so here in the middle is what you came for. This is Drucquer&Sons' First Amendment. Now it's made up of Red Virginia, Bright Virginia, Burley, Perique, and Latakia. And as you can tell, it seems to be more heavy-handed with the Virginias and the Burley, but there are still some dark spots that are more than likely, the Perique and the Latakia for sure. But it definitely is dominated by the more browner notes of red and Red Virginia Burley and Perique to a certain extent. There are definitely some bright areas where that Bright Virginia comes through, but as always in all these reviews, there's some coloration that happens in the processing, but I'm fairly certain that this is the majority, the Virginias and the Burley.
So that was Drucquer&Sons' First Amendment. So this is called First Amendment because as GLP's used to work for Drucquer&Sons, and he's recreated the catalog from his memory of working there, I think in the 60s and 70s. This would be the first new edition or the First Amendment to the original Drucquer&Sons catalog since his days working there in the 70s. Mm-hmm. So this is, this is a review that originally was going to be, I think, a cigar review, and then this sort of flew up on my radar, and when it showed up, I decided that it's just so perfect for the upcoming holiday of Independence Day that maybe we could just kind of slide this in since it has such constitutional American overtones. Mm-hmm. So I brought it up to Patrick real fast and then quickly ordered something, I think Monday of this week. Yeah. And then it flew in, I got in, and I've been smoking. I've gotten about 10 bowls in since I've gotten it, and this is going to be Patrick's first review. So I don't know, and this is kind of a caveat, full disclosure here, I don't know how rounded my review would be. I'd prefer to spend a couple of weeks with something, but for the sake of just getting this episode in before the 4th of July and kind of like mirroring the holiday, I did as best I could. So what do you think about this, Patrick?
So on first impression, it's in English. It's got Latakia, Burley, Virginia, and Perique in it. And for me, the Latakia, I almost don't really even pick it up. It's sort of hidden. It's very peppery on the front, which is sort of common for a lot of the blends we've been smoking these last few filler episodes. The pepperiness is sort of, it has taken charge, kind of. So I'm not really picking up the Latakia. Maybe a little bit on the Burley, but also, it being my first impression, I might be puffing on it a little bit faster, which I think from your previous smokes, you've said that that can be damning in a way for you.
Yeah, so this is not in any type of tobacco channel, talk, room, wherever you're at where you're smoking a cigar or a pipe, you're always going to hear, take your time, sip, get some sort of syncopated rhythm in your smoking or puffing. And that's universally true for every tobacco. The slower you smoke and the more sort of meditative you get with the pipe or the cigar, the more you'll probably read into it. Of course, like olfactory, like, doing a retrohale, getting all those notes. We're all familiar with this. But that doesn't mean that people aren't like puffers like I am. I tend to be kind of I'm doing something, I'm puffing away. It's sort of just an enjoyment altogether of its own. But then there are some tobaccos where, regardless of the universal thought on, you can just slow it and then you'll enjoy it. There are others that you can just puff, puff, puff and it's no problem. But then there's this select few that just the combined ingredients and whatever's going on with them, if you're just puffing away, they'll get harsh. They'll have a sour note for a long period of time. It's almost like the tobacco's gone bad, or it's very ashy, or just something peculiar happens to the tobacco. This is one of those blends. It's not bad. It's a good blend. I'll continue to smoke on it. I'd like to sit with it for 6 months to a year, which says something because I usually don't usually if I smoke a new blend and it doesn't like tickle my fancy, so to speak, I'll just sort of do another couple of weeks or the weeks leading up to a review, and then I'll be done with it, or I'll give it away or something. This is something I would like to sit with, which is a compliment, but it is also something that you can't just rush.
Yeah.
You have to be paced with it.
And
if you're not paced, that's just, I think you're going to see these harsh notes.
Yeah, because it sort of is reminiscent to like a heavier vapor on first impression right now. Smoking it probably a little bit faster than I normally do, because I'm most of the time not like a fast-paced, puffer. Hardly ever does my actual pipe get hot, like really hot to the touch.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually take a lot of time. But also, I don't smoke a lot in the summer months either. And so it's summertime. I'm probably, hotter than I normally am. So it probably is playing into it a little bit. And, I'd like to maybe, me personally, on my own time, revisit this closer to the fall, winter, which is kind of weird because, like, I know a lot of people, I think this is a pretty common consensus that most time people smoke Englishes in the colder months, or they still will smoke them, but they gravitate to them more often in those months. And so this, I guess, them choosing to make this an English blend, and then having it be sort of around the Independence Day with the First Amendment, all that stuff, it kind of is a little bit confusing. But then again, like I said, the Latakia really isn't there for me, so it's not that big of a deal. So I don't know. It's a interesting marketing idea. I guess if I was going to, of course, we don't make tobacco, we don't blend it, we don't know anything about it, we just enjoy it. But if I was going to make a blend that sort of released close to a summer holiday and sort of had those kind of overtones, I don't know. I figured it'd be more, a vapor or a aromatic or straight Virginia. It's kind of interesting that they chose an English, which, they may have already had their eyes set on what the blend was, and then the marketing, everything came about later.
Right.
So I don't know, but it's I'm okay with it right now. Like I said, it just feels sort of like a heavier vapor, so it's not bad. But also there are other blends I would gravitate to more than this. Like I've said before, I there's not a lot of shades of gray with me with blends. I sort of pick distinct ones and then I sort of stick to them. And this is kind of not distinct enough. I'd rather go, either to an English or go to like an actual vapor. So
I think a favorable comparison would be the Drucquer&Sons, the blend Blair Gowrie, which is also a Scottish blend. I think that a comparison between those two would probably be the closest thing that you could mirror. There's no Orientals or anything in this. Charing Cross might be another GLP's blend that I consider this too, because this is really like Fillmore with a little bit more Latakia, sort of like a Westminster, in terms of just a touch above what Fillmore offers. So, because Fillmore is a Scottish blend, it's a peculiar release, I think, a little bit for summer, because it is like kind of a darker, wintry blend, fall, winter. I think if it were me, I probably would have released a vapor in the summer months. I get it, he probably blended it before this, but to me it doesn't jive with a summer blend. We will be doing a filler episode that is a summer blend, something that I think that you could smoke all summer long, and something that I only smoke during the summer because it's so light and airy. This is not that blend. Doesn't mean you should not get it. It just means be ready if you're in the South, specifically the Southeast U.S., with 80, 85 degree nights and like 100% humidity, probably not going to be the best in terms of, a blend choice for you. So.
Yeah. So if you can get your hands on it, I don't think it would be a waste of your time. If you just give it some time and take it slow with it. But until the next filler, we'll hope you have a good one.
Yeah. Thanks.